Hi, happy Friday, and welcome back to the Farm to Table virtual series. My name's Kayla, and as always, I will get you guys started with some information about a specific topic, and then make sure to check in the following Friday with Eileen as she shares with you a fun, delicious recipe that you guys can do at home. This week's topic is spinach. So a little about spinach. Spinach originated in Persia, which is now Iran, and was found in China by 64 AD, then in Spain by 1100 AD. Spinach was later brought to the American shores by the colonists. A half a cup of cooked spinach contains 10% of your daily recommended value of iron. Beyond iron, spinach turbocharges your system with B vitamins, vitamin A, C, K, and E, dietary fiber, calcium, and magnesium. Fresh spinach is the best spinach. That's why growing your own is so great. These leafy greens are the most nutritious just after they have been picked. And even if you refrigerate them, they lose a little bit of those healthful qualities with each passing day. So after about 8 days, they've already lost about 50% of those nutrients. If you want your spinach to last a long time, freeze it while it is still fresh. California is the leading state in spinach production. Florentine is a common part of names of recipes where spinach is a significant ingredient. In the 1930s, U.S. spinach growers credited Popeye with a 33% increase in domestic spinach consumption. And you know, there is a national holiday for almost everything these days, including spinach. So March 26th, be sure to eat plenty of spinach. So there are two basic types of spinach. So there's smooth and Savoy, which means that the leaves are crinkly. So with the smooth types, they are normally grown for freezing and canning. They grow faster, yield more, and are easier to clean. Then you've got Savoy. These types are preferred for the home garden and fresh market. They look better, taste better, keep longer, and have less lactic acid. And lactic acid can interfere with the utilization of calcium or magnesium in the diet. Then you have semi-Savoy, which means that the plants have lightly crinkled leaves. So within these 2 to 3 basic types, there are many different varieties, and here are a few of them. So Savoy, which again are your crinkly leaves, are Bloomingsdale Longstanding and Tilly. Semi-Savoy, which means they have slightly crinkled leaves. You've got Avon, Melody, and Regal, and then you've got smooth leaf plants. So within that, you've got Olympia and Space. So the basics of growing spinach, and again, spinach has a quicker turnaround time and it's very easy to grow in your home garden. So plant spinach from seed when conditions are suitable. Spinach seed does not remain viable for very long, so purchase seed packaged for the current year. Spinach is a cool season crop, best grown in spring or fall. You may be able to keep spinach seed under optimal storage conditions for a couple of years, but germination rates will probably be much lower. Again, spinach is a cool season crop and should be planted in early spring, about 4 weeks before your area's average date of last frost. Ideal spinach weather is 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Spinach does best in well-drained soil, rich in organic matter, and will tolerate partial shade. Plant seeds 1 to 4 inches apart and about a ½ inch deep. If you do decide to use closer spacing, thin the leaves when they start to touch. So when the plants are about 2 inches tall, and you can use those tender leaves for salad greens. Spinach is a weed competitor, so keep the spinach bed weed-free. Pull the tiny weeds or cut off the larger ones at the ground level to avoid injuring the shallow roots of the spinach plants. Spinach, though, is a heavy feeder, so fertilize before planting and at mid-season to stimulate growth and yield. This is more important in the spring when nitrogen is less available to the plants in the cold soil. If the leaves begin to yellow, add additional nitrogen. Make sequential plantings about 2 weeks apart to continue harvesting spinach through the summer. You want to choose bolt-resistant varieties for your later plantings, and bolting is the formation of the flower stalk. So even slow bolting types will not remain vegetative for very long, so each planting's productive time will be short. Leaf quality declines when the reproductive cycle begins with the seed stalk formation. A fall crop often tastes better than the spring crop just because of the temperature cycle of warm to cool weather is more predictable. Plant the fall crop in mid-August for a late September or later harvest, and extend the season by covering the plants during the really cold nights or grow in a cold frame. You can also try a winter crop, so planted in late September, that will grow little before the dormant and go dormant for the winter. Alternatively, just cut off the leaves of the plants of your fall crop, leaving the roots and growing point intact. These plants may overwinter to grow a new crop of leaves in the spring. In colder areas or severe winters, covering the plants with mulch may enhance their survival. Some varieties, such as the Bloomingdale Longstanding, are hardier than others and more likely to survive over the winter. You can remove individual leaves periodically, starting when the plants have at least 6 true leaves, or harvest the entire plant at maturity. It is completely up to you for when you would like to harvest your plant. This is probably the best harvesting method in the spring or when the central stalks begin to appear. Cutting the plants off at the soil line will keep the harvested leaves cleaner than if the whole plant with its roots were removed. In the fall, removing the outer leaves only will allow the plant to continue to grow and produce more for a continued harvest. Wash the leaves thoroughly in plenty of water to eliminate the grit that sometimes sticks to the leaves, especially the crinkled types. Fresh spinach can be refrigerated up to 1 week. The leaves can also be frozen, canned, or dried. And then we've got pest management. So there are few insects and diseases that bother spinach. So you've got aphids, which can be controlled by removing infested leaves with chemicals if numerous. Minor infestations are often destroyed by a variety of natural enemies such as green lacewings, lady beetles, and parasitic wasps. Aphids may also be washed off the leaves with a vigorous stream of water. Then you've got the spinach leaf miner, which is a fly that lays its eggs on the undersides of the leaves. The maggots burrow into the leaf and create conspicuous trails as they eat their way through the leaf. Remove leaves with eggs or mines, but don't spray chemicals since they are ineffective once the insect is inside the leaf. To prevent leaf miner damage, put floating row coverage on after thinning. Use supports such as hoops to keep the fabric off the plants. Slugs can also be very problematic in very moist situations. And like the other plants that tolerate row-covered plants directly on the plants, the tender spinach leaves can be abraded if the fabric brushes back and forth in windy conditions. So for example, with the leaf miner, it says use the support of hoops to keep that fabric off the leaves of the plants. And do not mulch around the plants. Spinach is susceptible to rust, but most varieties are rust resistant. Occasionally, leaf spots may develop on the upper sides of the leaves, then fall off to form holes. Fungicides will control these types of diseases, so choose resistance varieties if downy mildew is a problem in your garden. So thank you so much for joining me. I have the sites that I used for the information in this PowerPoint. If you have any questions about growing or the resources that I used, feel free to shoot me an email. It is there on the screen, kls342@cornell.edu. And stay tuned for Eileen's delicious, fun, and easy recipe that you guys can do at home next Friday. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.